My question for you is the Supreme Court is about to start what many will say is its most consequential term. It's going to rule on many things, same-sex marriage, voting rights, gerrymandering, affirmative action, all this stuff. How do you feel? What would you like to see the court rule on? And what would you like to see them not rule on and leave be? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it should be a political matter. It really is about, as John Roberts said, even if someone disagrees with a ruling, it doesn't undermine the legitimacy
I
of
agree
the
with you.
court.
No,
And I
I'm
think
just
that
asking
that's
you.
what's
I'm
really,
asking you based on that.
yeah. I mean, the other thing is that as Alito spoke for the majority in the Dobbs case, the Dobbs ruling had no impact on anything else. So gay marriage is actually not, the actual institution of gay marriage is not even on the docket. There is a case about whether a graphic designer has to produce a gay wedding design. That's not the same thing as gay marriage being on the docket. So I think there's a lot of fear mongering to say these other issues.
No, I'm not.
They said
Carrie,
no, it
I'm
has
just
nothing to
asking you
do
a
with
simple
it.
question. You're not answering. I'm saying, what would you like to see the court rule on? That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you said, but what would you like to see them rule on? That was my question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have control over the docket. It's more, how do I want them to rule based on the cases that are on the docket?
Not what do you control. What would you like?
Well, they are having 2 affirmative action cases that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. One with the University in North Carolina, I believe, and Harvard University, my alma mater. And it's about affirmative action. And Chief Justice John Roberts has kind of, I think, tipped his hand into where I think he's going to go on this now that he has other justices who are going to agree with him. That the way that you get rid of racism is not through more racism. And I think that affirmative action will probably be overruled. And I think that you'll probably see a really great ruling or statement from Clarence Thomas, who's been very vocal about affirmative action and the harm that it causes to the intended beneficiaries and also to the institutional credibility. So I think that'll be one that I'm certainly going to be watching for. There's going to be other rulings on questions about voting rights and whether or not I think the Stacey Abrams ruling was very interesting this week. It was by an Obama judge who was an African American.
Brian Kemp actually wrote an editorial in the Journal about it. So
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a great editorial. And it was just saying, the fear mongering of people like Stacey Abrams. I think we're going to see a lot more of that once we have these Supreme Court rulings. And I think it really does. It's not about court rulings should never be about where you come down on a partisan worldview. It really should come down to the Constitution and whether an action or a law is constitutional. And I think that we're going to see a lot of these challenges in the mold of Stacey Abrams. They're just not going to be proven to be legitimate.
No, I agree. I mean, look, the court's held as you know, even though you won't, you won't say the election wasn't stolen, but Trump was 0 for 62, right? Even and again, the Rudy Giuliani's of the world. That's what I love about courts is he can say whatever he wants in public, but once he gets into court and he's under oath, actually, there's really no evidence of fraud. Sorry, Your Honor, we just had to say it. So that was the beauty. But I have one question: Do you support same-sex marriage?
Well, again, that's not on the docket.
No, I'm just asking you.
So I'm not
I've never
judge.
Asked you before.
Yeah, well, again,
no, but it's just simple yes or no. I'm just asking you.
Issue.
Do you support same-sex marriage? I'm just curious because I've never asked you.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like our society, like there should be room for people who have all perspectives as far as like religious liberty. If there are churches who don't want to perform gay marriages, they should not be forced to perform gay marriage. That's the mark of a tolerant society.
Yeah, and I agree.
Think that
if you don't want to bake a cake, if you don't want to bake a cake for a wedding, a same-sex wedding, you shouldn't have to. But you do agree though that putting that aside, that people should be able to love whomever they choose and marry whomever they choose, right? As long as they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's like a secular institution that there should be recognized. I mean, that's what America has voted for and said this is what we want, to say there is room for a secular institution of marriage. And yeah, I support society where we can have this I think a tolerant, open society. To me,
Good.
that is like people actually getting along, and to say, I don't have to agree with this, I don't have to agree with this, but we can, in America, we can have different worldviews.
Yes, good. Well, I'm glad that we can at least end that one with an agreement.